In today's class, we'll be learning how to make a short with lining, okay? I'm using this lace fabric and it's for a two-piece, a shirt and a trouser, okay? And a short, sorry. So I decided to show you how to do that with lining. So this is the lace I'm working with and this is a cotton fabric I just got. So this is a plain cotton fabric for the lining and the pocket. Then you will need elastic band, okay? Now let's get started. Because I'm making use of a white fabric, I cannot draft directly on it. That's why I decided to use a pattern paper to do that. So all I did is, the length of the fabric is, the short is 19 and a half, 19. Because I'm not going to be hemming the lower part. I'll be using the selvage of the lace at the lower part. So there's not going to be seam allowance, just the one joining the band. So here I have 20 inches. I'm not adding seam allowance here, but I need half an inch to join this to the band. So I'll be having the length of 19 and a half, which is okay. The next thing I inserted is the crotch depth. Here I have 11. On a normal day, my crotch depth is 11 inches or 12 if I want it to be loose. Okay, from this 11, half an inch is going for seam allowance that will join the band. So I'll be left with 10 and a half. So 10 and a half plus the 2 inches band, that would be 12 and a half. So it is perfect for a loose trouser, okay? Having noted that, the next thing you want to do is your hip circumference. My hip circumference is 48, which is actually free around my body. But for you, you could add extra 1 inch to that 48 or whatever yours is. But I will leave mine at 48 inches. So 48 inches divided by 4 will give me 12. So I'm going to mark that 12 here. Then remember, we will need half an inch on the side and on the crotch area to sew it together. So I'll add 1 inch to these 12 inches for seam allowance. So that will make it 13 inches. But remember, if you want ease to yours, you can add it. To achieve this plus the seam allowance. So having done that, the next thing you want to do is come up by 2.5 inches. If your crotch is less than 10, you do 2 inches upward. And here you just go in by half an inch. If you have a very flat tummy, you can do 3/4 of an inch. Okay, then you connect it this way. So everything I'm doing, you can do it directly on your fabric. So that is it. So once you have done that, the next thing now is the crotch extension here. How do you achieve that? You use your thigh measurement. Around my thigh on a normal day is 29, then for fitted trouser 29/30. Okay, so for this, just add extra 2 inches to 3 inches to your thigh measurement because it is a loose short. You don't want it too tight, right? So since mine is 29/30 on a normal day, I'm just going to make it 32. So I added 3 to 2 inches. So 32 inches divided by 2, that should be 16. You are dividing your thigh measurement by 2. That is 16 inches. So I'm going to add the seam allowance like I added to this hip area, half an inch on both sides, making 1. So 1 to that 16 will give me 17 inches. So 17 inches is here. So that is the crotch, then we can form it up. So now the next thing is to blend up the crotch. So you are linking this to this point. So as a guideline, you could just do 1 inch here, okay? So that is the crotch. Can you see? So this is going off. So after doing that, the next thing is to come to the waist area. Here at the waist area, you'll be using your hip measurement here because it is elastic. It has to pass through your hip. So my hip is 48 divided by 4 is 12. So I'm going to insert the 12 here. Then you need seam allowance just as we had it of 1 inch. But I would advise, just ignore that. You could just use the exact 12 or you could just add half an inch to make it 12 and a half. So here I have 12 and a half. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So once we've done that, now let us finish the hem. The hem here, I'm just going to divide whatever I have here by 2. This is 17. Divided by 2 should be 8 and a half. So 8 and a half here. So I'm just going to come down here 8 and a half and make a straight line. Good. So all I have to do is this. So for the tie measurement, I made use of 32 inches. So for this part, I'll be making use of 30 inches or 29. But I'm just going to stick with 30 inches. The next thing is you divide that 30 into 2. So that will be 15 inches for the front. We are working on the front. And then 15 inches for the back. So because of the line at the back, and the back is bigger than the front because of the bump, take away half an inch from the front, which will now give you 14 and half, and add to the back 15 and half. So now for the front, we are using 14 and half, and the back will use 15 and half. So 14 and half divided by 2, that will be 7 1/4. So 7 or 7.25 from the midpoint, 7.25. Then I'll come here to 7 1/4 or 7.25, and then you connect. Then the connect here. See, and here I will use the pant curve. So can you see the trouser is ready? So the last thing you just want to do here is you could just keep it, come down by half from the front. You know the back is higher, and then connect straight in. So this is going up too.
So can you see what I'm cutting off?
For us to start with the back, so all I did is the same thing, 20 inches in length. Can you see? Then 11 inches for the crotch. And the only thing I did is that I left some allowance at the side, because when we are cutting the waist area, you will note that. So I left like half an inch. You can leave up to 1 inch. So everything I'm doing now is from that 1 inch. So the divided hip measurement, 48 divided by 4, which is 12 plus 1 inch seam allowance, 13. Here to 13, and I drew a line. So the next thing you are going to do now is just place the front. So if you are cutting on your fabric, place your fabric on it this way. After the half an inch I left here. So once I do that, I can mark this crotch, the crease line here, and then come here to mark it. I'll make a straight line. So the next thing now is we have to extend the crotch. Okay, so all you have to do is to add 1 1/4 to 1 1/2. Okay, to the crotch extension of the back. That's because of the bump. So 1 1/4 to 1 1/2. So that is it. So once we've done that, you can remove this. Okay, so the next thing is to come up by the 2 1/2 we did. Now, because of the bump, we want it to sit well. Just come in by 1 1/2 from the waistline here, link up to the 2 1/2 inches, then extend outward, and from your crotch. So you see the way I'm blending to that new line. So that is the crotch. So the next thing you want to do here is to come up by 1 inch from that waistline, 1 inch, and from there you insert the waist measurement. Remember, for the front we made use of 12 1/2. So you can just do 12. So I eventually did 12. So I'm just going to do that 12. So that's the reason why I told you to extend this place outward. So you can see. So assuming we don't have excess here now, it's going to be short. So here is just 12, or the 12 1/2. So if I want it to be 12 1/2, I'll just add more paper here and then reconnect the 12 1/2. So I'll just leave it at 12. Straight down. And that is it for the waist. So here, remember we said the front is 14 1/2. So here is 15 1/2. So when you divide that, that should be 7 3/4. 7 3/4 is here. Then I'll come here to 7 3/4. So I can take these two here, or just make it straight from here, because you are supposed to connect this to this point. Can you see? Like this, then this way. That is it. And then with your pant curve, This is what the back looks like now. So let's place the front on it. So this is the front. You can see it matches up here. And you'll see the back is more than the front, the extension. And then this is how the waist is. Let's check it. And you see how perfect everything matches. So I'm just going to place it on my fabric and cut it all out. It's okay. So let me explain one after the other. So this is the back. So you can see I cut out everything just the same way, except you drag directly on your fabric. So this is what it looks like, okay? Now for the lining, I use the fabric to cut the lining. So you can see how I cut out the lining. So I think I did about 3 inches upward. And then I use the selvage, so I can decide to leave it raw because it won't fray, or just fold in half an inch. So because of the lace, I use this part as the guideline and stop here. So that is just it. How do we sew it? Just take the lining separately, sew up half an inch at the crotch, the main fabric half an inch at the crotch. Okay, now let's go to the front. The front, I cut it out the same way, and for the lining I did the same thing I did to the back. So what do I do here? I'm going to sew half an inch at the crotch of the lining and also the main fabric. So after that, the next thing will be, after attaching it, it becomes one this way. So the next thing will be to attach the pocket. I have a detailed video of how to cut the fabric for the pocket and how to sew it. You'll see it at the end of this video. Please endeavor to watch it. So now I've cut out my pocket and this is what it looks like. So can you see? So what I did is to just cut off some inches and then attach the lace to it, because this will be showing on the outside of the shorts. So this is it. I joined it and then top stitch. You can see it is opposite side. This is the wrong side. Hope that is well understood. And then the length and the width. So the length is 7.5 inches by 13 inches. Okay, so that is it. Then please watch the video on how to attach the pocket so that we won't waste much time. Now here I want to have a string in the trouser, so I just cut out a strip of 2 inches in width and your desired length, and then fold it up neatly. So this will be passed through in. Then for the band, you can decide to use the plain cotton, but I don't want that. I want to use the lace. Okay, so now I just cut out a very long strip of fabric. So we'll measure the waist once we are done. So this is it, and I made sure it is by 5 inches. So I just cut out about 50 inches. I'm still going to trim it by 5.5. That's what I have here, because we are going to be folding this way. We need just 2 inches for the band, because I don't want it to be too transparent. You know what I'll do? I'm just going to get my hemming glue. Okay, so I'm just going to put it in it and then take this cotton, the cotton fabric, place it on it and iron it so that it becomes one and well lined. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. That's the trick I will use. Guys, I have joined the lining, as you can see, and then I hem the lower part by 1 inch, then half an inch, both front and the back. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure right side of the lining is facing the right side together. Then I'm going to sew in half an inch by the side, half an inch by the side, and coming down here I'm going to sew half an inch to seal it up so it becomes whole. Then looking at it, this is what it looks like. You can see the back, I've joined it up. Then the front, I fixed the pockets. Okay, so just make sure you watch the video. I go through every step there. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure right side are facing each other the same way, and then sew half an inch, and also here. Then you can assemble it and fix the band. I've joined it all by the side and here also to the main trouser. Can you see how it looks like? So the next thing you are going to do is to leave this on the right side while the lining is on the wrong side. This is the front. Just put it in it. So right side here, the wrong side facing the wrong side of the lining. So you have the right side here, and inside you have the right side. So you make sure everything matches well. So once you have it this way, so you now go back to the sewing machine, then you secure it round. This is what it looks like. So secure it, just cut off an inch, because we are still going to be adding the band to it. So just go round. So once you've gone round, everything stays. So I'll now teach you how to tag down the lining so it doesn't move on the inside. I've secured this at the upper part, and you can see how it is. So everything is just inside. So how do we now secure this from moving here and there? It is very simple. Just come to the side here, open the seam of the lining, open the seam of the main fabric, then you match it up at the seam line and making sure it is straight. Okay, once you've done that, then on the right side you are not going to sew on the seam, in between the seam. It won't be visible in between the seam, like this one. You can see this one. So you are sewing in between, so you sew up about 2 to 3 inches. That's what I do. Once I've secured that, I'll come to this other side, do the same thing, come to the middle here too, open up the seams, match it up and secure it. So once you've done that, everything will be stable. It won't move around, just like the upper part is stable. So now going to the band. So I measured around the waist. Now what I have 43 inches. So for the band, I cut out 44 inches. That's because I need half an inch to join this part together. I already explained this, and you can see how beautiful it came out with the hemming glue. Then I folded it into 2 equal parts. Remember, we have 2.5 inches. Okay, the half an inch is for the seam allowance. So now listen very carefully. So this is unfold here. This is the crease line. So this is the crease line here. I don't know if you can see that. So what you are now going to do is, from the edge now, you sew in, you measure 1 1/4. Just do what I'm telling you. 1 1/4 is here. Okay, then from that 1 1/4, you skip half an inch opening, because that's where we want to pass the string through. So half an inch here, and then you sew it all down. Good. Again, you measure from the beginning 1 1/4 to this point, and then you measure half an inch here. So what you are going to do now is you start sewing half an inch from the beginning and stop at the 1 1/4, skip the half an inch, and then sew straight down. Okay, so you can secured the lining, and you can see how beautiful everything is. I'm still going to show you on the inside, so I gave it a good press, so you can see how lovely that looks. So everything stays intact. So the next thing I'm going to do now is the band. So I've sewn it what I explained to you. So I've sewn it. So you can now see the one we skip. Can you see my hand? So that is where the string will pass. So the next thing was for me to iron it. So you now see this opening will be in front of the trouser, because that's where it will pass. Now I've secured the elastic. Can you see? So just reduce some inches from your actual waist measurement. So I'm going to place it inside. Can you see? And then I'm going to sew very close to it. So just sew half an inch, because the elastic is less than 2 inches. So I'm going to secure that all round. This is what it looks like. So now this seam line will be the front. So let me put something here. So this is what we have. Can you see? So the next thing you want to do now is this. You are going to sew above it, above this opening. Okay, don't close the opening, above here and then below. You are going to sew it all round. And how do you do it? So as you are sewing, you make sure this is straight so that it can go all round on both sides before we now put this in. Right now I have done the 2 lines. So I have 1 and 2. So the opening is still there. So the next thing you need to do is to put your safety pin or whatever into the string, and then you just pass it into it. Okay, so you pass it all around and bring it out. Okay, so after that, the next thing you want to do now is to open up the short. So these fronts now that will have the string coming out, you now make sure it matches the seam in front, and then you sew 1/2 inch all around, okay? And then I will overlock it. The short is ready, and you can see how beautiful it is. Can you see? So looking at it, the lining, can you see? Everything is just neatly done, okay? So opening it up, this is what it looks like. Can you see? And then the inside. So after attaching the band, I overlocked all around. Okay, so let me just turn it to the wrong side for you to see how it looks. On the inside, it is just as neat as the outside. Can you see how beautiful it is? So look at the band, everything is just neat. Hope this tutorial has been helpful. If it has, please give me a giant thumbs up. Okay.